Hello and welcome to the Engerati studio here in Lisbon at the Investor Days. And this is our last interview, but it's probably a good one to wrap up on. I'm now joined by Tiago Simoes de Almeida, who's from, sorry, I pronounced your surname wrong, Almeida.
Almeida. Yes.
Almeida. And who's from BPI. And I know BPI, so we're going to be talking about project finance and so on. But one of the things that I'd like you to kick us off on is your observations from the conference, and specifically around those issues. Well, listen, let me not use my words. You use your words and bring us up to speed with what happened.
Okay. Well, basically, I was doing this presentation in the investor panel. I was the only representative from a bank. Most of them were from equity funds. So that gives you, well...
That says something.
Yeah, that says something. And many people gave me feedback that they were surprised that BPI was present in this seminar or investor days. Basically, what we have been hearing since we have been looking at energy efficiency, the sector, in more depth, is that there is a criticism made to commercial banks. Well, the commercial banks' shortcomings that people claim are, for instance, and these are only a few, the absence of adequate credit lines, lack of knowledge and false perception of risks, not inclined to make technical evaluation of energy efficiency projects, not adapted to back small-scale projects, eager to obtain personal guarantees. So these are only the main ones that we obtained from many conversations with people and conferences, etc.
So is any of that true?
I would say that currently in Portugal, and generally speaking, yes, this is more or less true. There is a lack of understanding of what energy efficiency is. It's much easier to finance someone if we obtain personal guarantees for the financing, so not linked to the project itself.
Unique to energy efficiency, that's just in general, right? If someone says you can have my house if I default, you go fine.
Yeah, but I will probably not lend to that person. So I would say that generally these accusations, I can call it that way, are true, or more or less true, or generally true, generally speaking. What we are trying to do, and I come from the project finance department, and that says something as well, because in project finance what we aim to do is provide non-recourse financing to projects. So in being here, we are trying to bet on this sector, trying to conceive a way to finance, to back the projects with project finance, so non-recourse financing, which we believe is essential to make the projects viable and to, for instance, to make the decision makers in companies, in industries and elsewhere to make the decisions to go ahead with the projects.
And what are you seeing that you feel you need? Because it seems to me if you go through those points, there are a couple of them that we can put into the understanding bucket. So I just need to understand what's going on here. I need to be able to learn the vocabulary so that when someone says something to me, I get it. I don't have to go into the deep dive every time I hear an alien word, for want of a better word. And the other one is just more around security in terms of, is this really going to work? What are my project guarantees? What are my finance guarantees? So, how are you looking to solve those gaps?
I'll first tell you what, in my presentation a while ago, I said BPI is already doing. So we are preparing a structured approach to all market segments with all types of financing products, including project finance. That means studying, and we are already doing that, the various aspects of energy efficiency, technical aspects, laws and regulations, financial instruments available from the European Commission, best practices, and we are doing that through specific training and interviews and meetings with market players. BPI is already a member of the Investor Confidence Project Steering Committee for Portugal. We are the only financial institution. We have submitted an application for an instrument managed by the EIB, the European Investment Bank, which is called PEF4EE, and this is Project Finance for Energy Efficiency, something like that, or Program for Financing of Energy Efficiency. So we submitted an application, as I was saying, and that will mean, and that is one of the conditions for the financial institution that is selected, that we need to capacitate ourselves to be able to understand what energy efficiency is and being able to finance that sort of projects in a sustained manner, even after this specific program has ended. And finally, we will submit applications to the financial instruments from the European Commission that are still to be launched to become one of the financial institutions involved in the deploying of those programs or those financial instruments.
So just reading between the lines, you don't go through all of that effort without having seen a potential in this energy efficiency space, right? You don't go and do all of this stuff if you think the segment is a dead duck, for want of a better word. So are you, in a way, through the journey that you're going through, corroborating this notion that there's a huge amount of unlocked potential in the energy efficient market?
We are absolutely sure that is the case. The potential is huge. All the studies that we have that we had access to point to huge numbers. The last one was from the Oporto University that was talking about, I think, 3 billion euros in investment requirements for 2020 until 2020. So that's incredible large amounts of money, and we would like to be present and be prepared and first comer as a commercial bank to this market. So we believe truly. Just to tell you something else, it's not written in my presentation, but it was said in the answers in the Q&A after the presentations. When we started in renewable energy, the first wind project that we financed was a 1.2 megawatt wind farm, and we accepted to finance it for a term of 5 years, and we demanded personal guarantees from the sponsor and his wife. So that's the way we started. Nowadays, or the largest project we ever participated in the financing was a 1.5 gigawatt wind farm with project finance non-recourse on a leverage basis of 85-15 more or less. So that was a change, and that took us about 6 years.
So you're seeing a similar trend in this thing. So very early, you still don't quite understand the vocabulary. Some of the jigsaw is in place. You need some of those guarantees, but you are learning the lessons from the renewable space. So you're also getting involved in the institution so that we can fast track this non-recourse finance.
And I think we can do it quicker than we did with renewable energy. That was the case with wind. That was the first renewable energy project. The second was, or not the second, but the second sector was photovoltaic. The first one was a 600 kilowatt project in which we had the personal guarantee.
In today's terms, right?
That we obtained, for which we obtained a guarantee from the company involved, because we felt the company was sufficiently creditworthy to guarantee us. So we were not really financing the project, we were financing the sponsor. That changed, and we are already able to look at projects of 100, 200 megawatts with no real problems. And we believe that in energy efficiency projects, we will be much quicker in going through the phase in which we demanded guarantees and all risks covered, to a phase in which we are ready to deploy.
Why do you think that is? Is that because you have learned what needs to be done to accelerate that ecosystem, so it's just a application of learning and getting smarter? Or is it because actually this energy efficiency market has done something different with sort of the regulations and things like that?
I think it's two things. One is there is one homework to be done by us and homework to be done by the industry. Our homework means learning and well, learning to accept certain risks involved in the projects that currently, because it's the unknown, we are not willing to take. As time goes by and we keep learning and keep getting involved in these projects, I'm sure that there will be a stage in which we will be able to accept those risks and facilitate the financing much.
Is there anything, just as we close here, is there anything that you feel that this industry should be doing that it's not necessarily doing to maybe help you guys accelerate? Because it's a two-way thing. You know, you're taking the first move to understand the dynamics, learn the vocabulary, learn the nuances of the industry. But is there something that you're observing based on your experience from the renewables sector that, you know what, these guys should really be doing this because that will make a difference?
Well, they should present us complete information, very thorough and complete information. It needs to make sense from a business perspective, and there is also we need to prepare the list of information and the form of presenting that information that is required by us, and then they need to fill in or adapt to those requests. Well, it's a two-way thing, as you said. We are starting when we are in the market with the products. They simply need to adjust or adapt.
And that is where these platforms like CEF and things like that need to start working with you so that it's already in there. So that if someone says, "Hey, listen, I'd quite like to engage with a commercial bank," then there's all the right things already in there.
Sure. Yeah. I think that, let me tell you a sentence that I used to finalize my presentation. BPI is in a learning curve, that's correct, but with the aim of becoming the reference financial institution in the Portuguese energy efficiency sector. We also hope that this position by BPI, together with the financial instruments provided by the European Commission, will help unleash market potential that we believe is huge.
And on that note, we'll leave it because it speaks volumes. Thank you very much for taking the time to be here. And thank you as well for listening to this interview.